which is a ring of that count. So it is one this tx ring, let's go back here. This tx ring is the entire ring buffer, and it may have a it may be a chance that there are multiple instances of this ring buffers. What I meant is you can have maybe a multiple copies of this ring buffers actually. So it can be multiple instances of this ring buffer. So you can see there it may not be a single item. Then in that case it may be a multiple ring buffers, and maybe you may have some type of connection between them. You should able to find these things when you search for network architecture, driver of a network architecture, and you should find Linux network driver ring buffers, and there are situations you should find scenarios like this. So if it is multiple you have multiple instances, then there may be a chance somewhat like that. So yes, something like that, but in this case there is a dedicated one for RX, one for TX, and things like that. So we can further explore as we do the code walk. Okay, so if you go back here, see, you can see that this is this is the tx ring of count, and we go back here, you have this tx ring, and you should have some sort of a number of descriptors of that. So you have this many descriptors, and this is the thing, and this txbi, it should be somewhere here. Where is this? Yes, you have this txpa and rxpa, and this is nothing but it's again a data structure i40 tx buffer. So if you open that, it should be is this struct, and you should able to see it as this binding skb and all this stuff. So it's as you explore, it gets kind of apparent how it is being used and stuff. And if you go down, you should able to find some sort of APIs like this. See, you can see here there are binding APIs for this ring data structure i40 ring. You have this clean tx ring and clean rx ring and stuff like that. Let us go to this other driver. Let us explore this 100E, and we see if any such buffers are there. Let's just search for alloc, and we see how it is actually. And moreover, see, this is a 40 gig NIC card, so architecturally it is quite advanced. You may have a lot of offloading of the network operations in the NIC card itself. So naturally it has more code. You can see here all these files are there, versus this 100 Mbps NIC card has just one file. Okay, so we see if there is any allocation, and it gives us a hint, because typically you will find network code, kernel code, usually than using static arrays, they have a tendency to use linked list. So whenever they use linked list, of course somewhere they need to do that alloc as soon as the module gets inserted. Okay, so during the module insert they may do this initialization, and in the as a part of initialization they may do this alloc. Okay, so if you see, let us see if any place we can find anything interesting. See, rx alloc skb, and this is just a standard skb. This is not a part of any ring buffer. So let us just see if anything we can find. Yeah, alloc list. Sometimes they may not usually use the term as ring all the time. So in that case it may be just a linked list, which is nothing but binding APIs to manage that linked list. But in a way, how they use when it gets populated is it can be used as a ring circular ring buffer. Okay. Yeah, clean list and stuff like that. Let us see if NIC of RxS. What is this NIC? Which is this struct NIC. Yeah. So you have that struct defined over here, and you should able to find its structure definition. Okay. So this looks like a data structure for that NIC. Usually they use this net device data structure. So in this case they are using a bounding data structure, encapsulating that plus adding all this stuff. So we should able to find, see, you can see here they are also adding the statistics over here, versus if you go to a more modern drivers like this, there is lot more complex stuff happens, how they compute this statistics and stuff like that. So that's what it is. Okay, so let us see if anything else catches our attention. See, other than that, I would like to also point, whenever you search for SKB data structure, you should also find, see, SKB data structure is the one which, you know, acts a carrier to hold the packet, to hold a packet. It's not multiple packets. Every packet in the Linux kernel is kept in a data structure called SKB. I believe if it is a FreeBSD operating system, then you have something called as mbuf. Okay, so that is what, and I have even done an architectural picture for this FreeBSD. If you go to the FreeBSD, I have done a series called networking subsystem for FreeBSD as well. And if you go here, I have done a picture over here. You can see there, this is a FreeBSD source versus this is a Linux kernel source. In the Linux kernel, we have the SKB. In the FreeBSD, you have something called as, mbuf. Okay, so that is what. So if you see the SKB stuff, it itself is like a circular linked list. Okay, and although they don't call as ring buffer, it is more like a circular ring, linked list, where you can one side produce, you can one side whatever received packets, you store that in one end, and the other end you can start reading them, and it will be more treated like a circular linked list at some point of at certain situations. See, it can be any item of this node. Once it is taken out of this buffer, right? See, once it is taken out of this buffer and you join these two places, okay, assume this is done with linked list, so assume it is pulled out of this buffer, then it is a single node and it doesn't have any connections anywhere this side. Okay, let me represent in some other color. You don't have any connectivity this side and this side as well. So even then, it is a data structure, but it's a linked list data structure, but it is not connected to any of that part. So when you see some areas, if you print that next and previous pointers, it may print as null. Okay, which means it has been taken out of that buffer and it is not having any type of connections to that. You will find this, in fact, again, I have taken several videos on that. You can go to this network kernel network programming, and I have taken extensive videos on skbuf stuff, skbuf. So which is why I don't want to much talk in this episode, because I have taken multiple various episodes, more than 18 episodes I have covered about SKB itself. So if you are curious, you can have a look, and I have even discussed about the circular data structures and stuff like that in a dedicated video. But overall, if you see, you should find the pictures like that: Linux skbuf circular. Let's type something like that, and you should find some kind of a picture which should represent the SKB part. Yeah, it is somewhat happens like that. When you see the data structure, you should find some kind of a illustration of linked list nodes, SKB linked list. Yeah, something. Yes, see, you can see here there are various nodes connected, and let's just zoom in, view image. Let's open something which is big enough. Yeah, you can see there. Let's just view image. Yes, let's just zoom in. You can see there, this item or this node is connected to this, this is connected to this, this is connected to this, and again it is more like it is connected back and forth. This is one direction, this is the other direction, and you have this head. You can traverse from head, you will know the first item, and then you can traverse. But again, there are situations, if you want, you can make it like a circular list, you can add your own binding APIs, and you can do that as well. So you can use, of course, existing SKB APIs, but in some situations or in some cases of the network stack, it will have that next and previous populated, whereas in some situations it may not be populated because it is not yet added to that list. So this is what. So this way, I don't want to go depth. So this way, if you come back to the main topic, circular buffers or this ring buffers are quite common, and it is very common in the case of core systems code like networking stack and network drivers and stuff like that. You will also find this kind of stuff in various other parts of Linux kernel sources, right? So yeah, something like that you can have. Yep. Right. So my objective is not about doing any sample code to illustrate. You can anyway write any logic the way you want. You can write it in any language, not just C. You can write it in Python, Perl, or PHP, or maybe if you are comfortable with C as well. But the overall objective is this. Sometimes you can just overwrite the items if it is unable to catch up, and it is very useful if you are having any log entries. If it is unable to consume at that high rate, what you can do is you can go ahead and you can start overwriting those elements, and you can continue populating that, the ring buffer like I illustrated. And sometimes if you strictly manage with linked list, then you can just avoid that scenario altogether by doing a malloc of each item and then keep adding them, and the moment you consume, you just close that ring buffers, so that the entire buffer size itself is reduced as it's taken out of that ring buffer. So this increase in size or the increasing count and decreasing count happens if you manage with linked list, versus if you manage with arrays. More or less it the size will be the same, but some may be populated and some may be free items in that buffer. So again, we can just represent. Let's do some undos, and we see if we can get back the same picture what I did before. Yeah, let's just delete this, and let's just create another scenario where it typically happens in the real world scenario. So let's just empty everything, and let's just populate. See, there is an item which is getting populated here. So let's suppose this is populated, and this is populated, and this is populated. Meanwhile, what you can do is let's suppose this is being read, this is being consumed, right? So this is taken out, and this is freed up. And what happens is, and if you want to populate anything further, you may be continuing over here and then keep populating here. And meanwhile, let's assume this is being read. Again, this item will be taken out, this item will be taken out. As you can see here, buffer the slots are being emptied, so that you can reuse these empty slots. So this way happens in a ideal case where the overlap don't happen. So it will be keep doing it, and somewhere the consumer will be keep consuming it at some rate. Okay, and sometimes there may be a mismatch. You may end up producing more, or sometimes there may be a case that consumer may be quite aggressive. It may consume very fast. The moment it gets added, it may get consumed. You may get chances like this, that consumer may be consumed everything, and the producer next time if we need to add any item, most probably he will add over here, and by the time he add the next one, the consumer must have already consumed this, okay, and taken out. So anything is possible. See, this is I'm giving a conceptual idea. The way you architect such buffers, it is your creativity. There's a lot of creativity involved when you do this type of architecture of data structure. We can use this principle in user space code as well. You can use this in kernel space. And I again forgot, this is very useful when you treat when you use for any network packets and how you create a network packet buffers and stuff. Because what happens is if there is an overflow of packets and if it is not consumed, then you should discard these unwanted packets. So discard happens in this scenario itself. Like I said, see, all these are populated. Let's take a scenario, all these are populated, and you are unable to catch up that, and what happens is it can start overwriting these items, which means those packets are not taken out, which is not consumed, and it will start overwriting those slots, which essentially means those packets are dropped. So it is a nice data structure for having any network appliances, any network stack in a network appliance. So let's assume you have a network appliance like a router, and you have some type of connectivity. Here it is connected to our LAN network, okay, and let's suppose this is your 1 Gbps LAN network, versus here in my case I have 100 Mbps copper, which is terminated to fiber. See, outside I have it fiber, but from the home to that box it is copper. So what happens is, naturally if it pumps lot more packets, the router will start dropping them, right? Obviously, versus if it is getting at 100 Mbps speeds, the router can as it is deliver that 100 Mbps speeds, because this side it is a Gbps link versus this side it is a 100 Mbps speed network. So what happens is, you can see in this direction, right? So packet drops will happen. So in this direction packet drops will happen, whereas in this direction no packet drops, and sort of the consumer will try to get packets almost whatever it received. So it kind of gets a situation like starvation actually, right? Most of the times it will be ideal, and it has enough time. The moment a packet received, immediately it will consume. So like I said, it may never overlap that ring buffer, versus in the other side you may have that overproduction and less consumption. So it is a interesting data structure. Like I said, it is a very interesting data structure. It depends how you architect and use. Like I shown few examples. Of course I have not done a complete code work, but like I shown few data structures. Usually it will be used in kernel sources. You will find it a lot in kernel sources, not just in networking. Since I'm an expert in networking, I'm giving some few examples, okay? So play around. You can do some sample code if you are interested. Do with the simple arrays, play around, and then if it demands, then you can do the same with some type of dynamic linked list. No matter which way you architect, the way it works is the same. The idea is the same. You want to compromise by overwriting those items, or you don't want to compromise by adding extra items dynamically, is up to your design challenge and your need and your use case basis. It depends, okay? So hope you enjoyed this session. If you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail, or if you have any queries, a small query, you can discuss in YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.